In this video, I want to discuss Wagons and whether or not, as a community playing this game, we actually want to see them introduced to Red Dead Online. Are they somewhere near the top of your priority list for things that you want to see added to this game? Well, a couple of weeks ago, I asked you all what your thoughts were on this potential update. Do you want to see Wagons in the game, or are you not fussed and would rather see Rockstar focus on something else ahead of this feature? But before we get into some of your comments, I wanted to give you my thoughts on Wagons in Red Dead Online. So I've often felt that horse riding on Red Dead can be quite clunky and at times very unresponsive, which can be really frustrating. But these issues are multiplied when it comes to wagons and coaches. Trying to maneuver one of these things gets really frustrating at times, and when you combine the fact that you can't auto run in cinematic mode with a wagon, it really puts me off using them at all. If you think about it, how often do you actually see players riding around on a wagon or using a coach? I mean, they're available in the game now. You can just take one off an NPC, but despite that, aside from missions, you don't really see them used. Of course though, if they were brought to the game, there is a side of them that does really interest me. If they get introduced as they are now, put straight into the catalogue or the stables, then I'm not really interested. But if Rockstar nail the customization of wagons and coaches, then that's when I'll be really excited about them. Rockstar are fantastic with introducing the absurd and experimental into their games. GTA 5 is a good example of this, with the mad stuff like the ray gun, called the Up and Atomizer, and a flying jet bike. Now, I'm not suggesting that they go as far out as that, but having a load of options for customizing wagons would definitely be the best approach for getting the player base engaged again. Obviously, when it comes to this specific feature. Imagine cruising through Blackwater in a pimped out coach with 50-inch chrome rims and a Maxim gun mounted on the back. Now that's what I want to see in Red Dead Online. So let's now take a look at what some of you had to say on this. Firstly, thanks a lot to anyone who commented, and apologies if I don't get to your comment. I really appreciate you chipping into the conversation though. It seems like there's a real mixture of opinions here. Some of you want them, like Uncle Trojan and Shady Boss. Some of you don't really care, like Vin Scully. But most of you seem to care more about other things being fixed or introduced than wagons dropping. Aussie Boy suggested wagons could be a good thing for fishing pike, but he had a completely separate thought about maybe getting a wife and maybe even a family in the game. To be honest, this could take the game in a whole new direction, and if they were ever to do anything like this, I imagine it would be a new storyline for the player base, which I suppose would be cool. Or maybe after the collector, trader and bounty hunter get released, we could see a new role called the spouse, with special abilities of nagging and holding a growing resentment of a partner that lasts throughout a relationship for 10, 20, 30 years until they get the sweet final release of death. Mohammed Rezwan suggested that NPC companion wagons could be cool, and I totally agree with that. Being able to summon and dismiss a wagon would be really cool, especially if we could ride shotgun, and maybe even if it was combined with Autistic Anarchy's idea of an equipment wagon that could store weapons and other goods. Alexandru Grigoras, Jesus, that was a hard name to say, has said he thinks the role players would be the most satisfied with wagons, as they'd highly improve the immersion of their scenes. I totally agree on this. You can definitely see this feature used a lot by role players, but the majority of the people that play this game are just your general run-of-the-mill players that I think would need more functionality from wagons for them to be an attractive addition to this game. Chris Wright has come up with a cool way that Rockstar could implement them by linking them up with the roles, so that each role's got a specific type of car unlocked as a progression of that role. I agree with Chris too. Having a big stagecoach with 4 horses would be cool. Maybe not to be an evil Scooby like him though. Dusty likes trains. Blake thinks that having wagons as a key to bigger hauls when hunting would be really worthwhile, as when or if properties and more expensive items are released, that increased amount of cash return for hunting trips would be essential for people to be able to afford these bigger items. That's if you aren't already a multi-millionaire from glitching money, that is. So I suppose in summary, the majority of people do want wagons added as a purchasable element in the game, but for them to really take off, they have to go beyond the core of what wagons currently are in the game. In a similar way to the whole of Red Dead Online, the foundation is there for wagons to be great, with the potential for lots of customization options, hunting benefits, and even potentially an NPC-controlled companion element. But it's just a case of seeing if Rockstar capitalise on that potential. But regardless, I am excited to see what they've got in store for us. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe for more like this in the future. If you're interested in the fastest way to currently level up in Red Dead Online as a solo player, then click the video on screen now or the link in the description. I'm JmCooKie. Cheers.